I'm going to tell you a couple things about me that you do not know.
Ooh.
Yeah. Number one, I was born in Mississippi. That's right. My dad was in the Air Force, and so we traveled all over when I was a kid, and got to live in some pretty cool places. One of my claims to fame was I looked at all the states in the United States one time, and I realized I'd been to 35 of them by the time I was 15 years old, which I thought was pretty cool. And the neatest place I think I ever lived was the Philippine Islands. Which is actually no longer an Air Force base because the mountain exploded and they had to evacuate it. But I lived at Clark Air Force Base for a couple years. Let's see, I would have been about 9 through 11. So it was 1973 to 75. So, what I want to talk about today was two things. I want to talk about some changes in the industry, in the automotive industry, that have been going on for some time. And actually it's going by leaps and bounds. It's really amazing what's going on right now. And I've purposely become more educated about it recently, just because, well, you have to. If you're in the industry, you need to know everything you need to know about it just to stay up with it. Or you're going to find that the industry is going to pass you by and you'll be one of the shops that used to be there. So I've become educated about it, and so I want to talk about new technology that's going on with automobiles, and specifically with the collision part. And also, I want to answer the question: is why is my auto insurance going up? So, and that's a really valid question. People ask that question. I know, Amanda, you probably deal with that occasionally, but hopefully this will shed some light on that. So. This morning, a friend of mine stopped by, and I told him I was going to be doing a presentation today about automobiles, and he said, "Oh yeah, I bought my first automobile. I just got out of the Air Force or some military. He's older than me, and he got out in 1966. Bought a brand new Mustang for under $2,000. How about that? It's brand new car." Under $2,000. So how much do you think a brand new Mustang costs today, 2016? Now I'm just talking base model. This isn't a GT, it's not a Shelby, it's just a base model.
Over $2,000.
You're correct.
$31,000.
35.
40.
Too high. 40. I looked it up on the internet. Is $24,145. That's the base model. Yeah, that's not too bad, in today's economy and stuff. But just think about it. I mean, if you're of the age where you're just going to buy a car, years ago you could buy it, under $2,000. Of course, a lot of things were cheaper then. Houses were cheaper, food was cheaper.
What's 2,000 adjusted for inflation in today's dollars?
That's 24,000.
I was going to say those 24,000 ones are cheaper probably than the $2,000 one at the time.
So, I was just thinking about how things have really evolved, and it kept coming back to me about a show I used to watch when I was a kid. And you guys probably remember this, at least some of you. I'm not so technical that I was thinking about putting it on the TV screen, but I had some technical difficulties, so I printed them out. But it actually worked out really good. They're kind of pixelated, but from a distance, they look pretty good. So does everybody remember this show?
Yes.
So I want to show you some pictures, and well, number one, take a look at that. Does anybody know what that robot means? It's a robot. That's right. Rosie the robot means. Yeah. Okay. So here's another one. They're flying above a whole bunch of cars. The reason I bring this up is because this is a show I watched in the 70s, and if you look at what's going on today, you're kind of seeing a lot of what was futuristic going on, happening now. How about a virtual doctor?
Yeah.
Make a phone call, or you can look at them. Imagine you could, just like you do with I don't know exactly how it's going now, but I'll bet you there's an app or something you can get on where you can get a virtual doctor. You don't have to be right.
They're even doing remote surgeries.
What's that?
Doctors that can do surgeries from another country, and the tools are in a body somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, you were right, Rosie. Let's see. humanoid, clean, reliable, sweet, caring,
Endearing.
Yeah.
robots. This was
Yeah.
like a concept way back then, and now it's like this is becoming like a reality. Gee, how about that? Doesn't that look kind of like Space Needle?
Oh, yeah.
And this, I thought it was kind of cool.
Elroy.
Elroy? Yeah. I just noticed recently they come up with these things. Well, I think we've seen things like this where people have flown in the air, but on the water now, they have this. It becomes really popular where you can fly around above the water. Well, this is his. I think it's his office.
Like Johnson office.
This one, I believe, is the conveyor belt one, and it reminds me of when you go to the airport now, how you can get on the conveyor belt, pass by everybody else. So I remember seeing that when I was and of course, dog's still your best friend. Was then, still is.
Some features never change.
So, why do I bring these photos up? Because they are all, basically concept ideas way back. I don't know when the show started, but I watched it in the 70s, and it's like, wow, that'd be really cool if we could do this. And there's actually some other ones by ran out of ink. There was a couple of them that had big screen TVs, which was we got it back then. I can't remember. There's a couple other ones I thought were pretty cool. Anyways, the whole idea is that these things are really happening now, and they're happening by leaps and bounds. And what I really want to talk today is about like the electronics part. I gave you an example, the 66 Mustang compared to the Mustang today. I remember years ago when I first heard that a car had a computer on it. You're kidding me. Why would a car have a computer? Now we know that all cars have computers, and it's just a way of life for cars. So let's see, I want to give you a couple examples. There's no denying that today's autos pack more in the way of advanced technology than NASA originally employed to send astronauts to the moon. Computers, sensors, and cameras work in harmony to make cars and trucks go fast, handle precisely, ride smoothly, and get great gas mileage. Vehicles can automatically maintain a set speed to keep a safe distance from traffic on the highway, warn motorists of presence of adjacent vehicles and/or obstructions ahead, and can even apply the brakes to avoid a crash if the driver isn't reacting quick enough. In-car entertainment systems are light years ahead of the radios and tape decks of the past, with built-in internet service, full smartphone integration, and backseat high-definition video players to keep the kids entertained. Today's cars can navigate their way around traffic jams, give passengers a relaxing massage while en route, and even park themselves once they've reached a selected destination. Hands off, okay? This is what's coming up here. Ready or not, experts say self-driving cars will be ready for rush hour traffic in just a few years down the road. Yeah, it's crazy. In the meantime, automakers are introducing features on high-end cars that bring them tantalizingly close to being autonomous. Autonomous, I believe that means car driving without anybody in it. For example, Tesla recently rolled out a new autopilot system for its Model S electric sedan as a downloadable upgrade, no less, that can automatically keep the vehicle centered within a lane, manage its speed via traffic aware cruise control, and change lanes automatically at the tap of a turn signal indicator. Similarly, the 2016 BMW 7 Series luxury sedan available Active Driving Assistant Plus feature can likewise help maintain the car within highway lane markers at speeds up to 130 miles an hour, and will actually prevent the driver from changing lanes if there's another vehicle in his or her blind spot. These are just things that are new developments. I mean, we all pretty much accept that if you don't have a car like this, but you've rented a car recently, most cars nowadays, you don't even have to have the key in, you just push a button. keyless remote. I mean, that's just like, these are just standard things that, years ago was like unheard of. You had to have a key for the trunk, the door, the ignition, everything. And now, things are changing. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because they're changing extremely fast. You buy a computer, it doesn't take very long because that computer's outdated. Well, kind of same with automobiles. So it's really important for people in my industry to keep up on what's going on. It's no longer about putting a new fender on the car, painting it so it matches, and everything looks pretty and it looks like it's all intact. That's just part of it. Actually, kind of a small part of it. So, how am I doing on time, Brian?
You have 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay, good. So, let's see. One of the things I want to talk about is the amount of electronics in a vehicle. So this will maybe help put it in perspective, how much technology is put into a vehicle, because I'm going to read just a short little article, just a paragraph about the comparison on a vehicle compared to other things that we're familiar with. So high-end vehicles in 2015, and now high-end vehicles, we're talking like BMW, Mercedes, maybe Lamborghini, but also it's on the high-end vehicle is the Hyundai. So, I mean, there are a lot of vehicles that are just becoming high-end because all the electronics are being so wide, mainstream for everything. So high-end vehicles in 2015 averaged more than 100 million lines of software code per car. Okay, so 100 lines, I don't even know what that means, but 100 million lines of software code per car. Okay, so keep that in mind. According to data research from the firm Information is Beautiful, to put that in perspective, a Boeing 787, for example, has about 14 million. Okay, compared to, like I said, there's 100 million on a car. So a Boeing 787 has 14 million. And we're talking about lines of software code per lines of software code. An F-35 fighter jet has less than 45 million lines of code. Facebook uses just over 60 million, and Apple's operating system, the Mac OS X Tiger, has a little more than 80 million. So when you think about it, it's pretty amazing. I mean, in a car, in one car, has, like, we're talking high-end cars. We're not talking a base model, Toyota Corolla or something, but there's probably quite a bit in just the base models. But the high-end luxury cars, they have a lot of bells and whistles in there. I mean, there's everything is becoming so automated. There's almost not too many things a car can't do. So I don't actually own a new car, but I have the opportunity to drive new cars occasionally, and I'm always amazed at what the new gimmicks are.
No, that's okay. Thanks, though. I like that. I was like, that's
So
what
I just
I'm
want to give you an
doing.
example, like I was saying a minute ago, fixing the car, getting the paint, all that right, is a good portion of the car repair, but there's a lot more to it now, and what I really want to talk about is the electronic part and how we've had to educate ourselves and find out from the manufacturer's vehicle what is required on the as far as clearing codes and getting the computer back up to speed after an accident, because a car actually needs to be recalibrated if it's been an accident. Depending if you have somebody in the passenger seat or not, it could throw off your airbag deployment. Even if there's articles that say even if you take a bumper off a car and you put it back on, you think that's a pretty simple thing. You have to recalibrate it because it's changed the weight of the vehicle, so it has to be recalibrated. So it's weird. I just want to read this little short story here to kind of give an example of what I'm talking about. This is a very competent mechanic I worked with recently described a troubling situation he encountered. Our collision shop had completed a collision repair and he was road testing the vehicle prior to performing a wheel alignment and final scan of the electronics. Now when we talk about final scan, if you look under your dash on your car, there's a little plug. So if you ever take it to a mechanic or now fly shops, they'll plug in a scanner and it'll pretty well diagnose what is going on with your car, rather than just rev it up and listen to the engine or something like that. It was, this car was a relatively new hybrid. There were no warning lights on the dash. This is key, because, usually it's like, well, there's no warning lights on the dash, the car's good to go. Okay, that's been our way of thinking for quite some time. The vehicle went down the road nicely. The steering wheel was centered and the front end did not pull to the right or left. While traveling down the freeway in the right lane, another vehicle came up at a faster speed in the left lane, going the same direction. It was about to pass. As the accident avoidance system detected the other vehicle, all of a sudden the steering wheel turned to the right, all on its own. It was not a violent move, and our technician was able to hold the wheel straight. Our technician was surprised and wondered if it was his imagination. So he returned to the shop and asked another tech to accompany him to replicate the situation. It performed the same, thus verifying his observation. So something was wrong. Our tech performed a scan and found a fault code indicating that the steering angle sensor was not properly calibrated. He performed the calibration and the wheel alignment. The problem was cured. The out of calibration sensor was causing the module, these are big words, to believe that the vehicle was headed to the left, and it turned the steering wheel to the right to avoid the oncoming car. Scary situation. Thank goodness it was detected before returning the vehicle to the customer, as one could only imagine of the potential consequences. So, I guess what I'm saying is that auto repairs are much more complicated than they used to be, especially on the collision side, because we've all been about, let's fix a fender, if we're going to repair it, replace it or something, get the paint to match and everything looks good, and then we're safe. But that is far from, the vehicle being completely finished and ultimately safe. So, the scanning thing I just mentioned is it's a pretty big thing, and it's basically come to the point where the automakers have put out statements that they want their vehicles scanned prior to the repairs being done and after the repairs are being done. And this is a little bit of a complicated situation because this is another expense for insurance companies to have to pay for. And there have been some shops that have experienced some resistance with the insurance companies, but by the OEM, like when I say OEM, I'm talking like Ford, Toyota, Honda, all the major manufacturers coming out with statements saying that this is a required operation if the car is in an accident, then it makes it a lot easier. It lets us know what needs to be done, and it also helps us to show the insurance companies this is a necessary part of the repair process and that we have to do it. So I just want to read what Toyota just recently came out with, and all the big ones have come out with statements regarding this the vehicle scanning and getting the recalibration done after an accident. Now, an accident or a collision, to some degree, it's going to have to be a judgment call, because if you get a door ding, does that count as a full collision? So I don't think it's all been ironed out yet, but I just want to tell you what Toyota's come out with. This is as of July 28, 2016. Toyota announced recently that pre- and post-repair scans should be performed on all Toyotas, Lexus, and Scion vehicles according to a bulletin provided to Fender Bender, which is an auto body magazine, by both a collision repair facility and industry consultant like Anderson. Toyota says that these vehicles have electronic control modules, actuators, sensors, or wiring that can possibly be damaged in the event of a collision. The damage may cause these electronic systems to perform incorrectly following the repair, and not all the systems illuminate a malfunction indicator light on the dashboard. They are designed to trigger diagnostic trouble codes. So it doesn't just sound like you're low on oil and your light comes on, you're like, okay, I know I got a problem. These problems can be going on in your car and you have no idea until you drive the car and something doesn't work right. There isn't enough lights. It's not like Christmas tree on your car that you could have a light for every single one of these codes. So to ensure that all systems are performing as they should, Toyota requires that collision repairers perform a health check, a scan before and after repair to check for DCTs. That's for default codes, and address them accordingly. This will ensure the customer will receive their vehicle back without any systems warning working. this will ensure the customer will receive their vehicle back with all systems working properly. So, yeah, interesting, isn't it? I've been studying this kind of stuff, so when I knew I had a presentation, I thought, I really want to talk about this, because I've learned a lot recently about it, and you know, it's funny, I have all my guys at work sit down, I watch this video about this exact thing, and it's an hour long, and I said, man, the guys at work need to see this. And so I had them come in an hour early and had them all watch this video and talk about vehicle scannings, about you know, just some updated things they need to know about the industry, and a lot of them were like, wow, I didn't know this, you know, it was like really enlightening, some of the information they got. And then at the end I said, you want to know something, guys? This video was made 3 years ago. So it was, that's how fast the industry is changing. You know, these guys have been doing body work for a long time, and you know, they know their stuff, but it is our responsibility as repairers to make sure that we are, you know, fixing the car correctly, and that we are putting you back into a safe vehicle. So very important to me as Center Collision, because, you know, I mean, let's face it, my reputation is on the line, and our shop, you know, we have to, to continue, we have to stay aware of what's going on, and make sure that we know how to fix your car right. You know, we just can't assume that, well, the lights aren't on, you know, the car's good to go. So we know there's more to it than that. This is just, I know I'm out of time here. Just one last thing. This is a printout. This is a car we have in our shop right now. And we have a program called All Data, and it gives you all the information that the factory wants you to do. This is a Chevrolet, so if the car gets in a collision, even if the airbags don't go off, these are all things that the factory says you need to do to make sure that car is ready to go, besides scanning it. I'll just tell you real quick a couple things. They want you to check the steering column. They want you to check the instrument panel. These are not like suggestions. It says right here, repairs and inspections required after a collision. Check seat belts. Check the roof rail. Let's see, the seats and the seat mounting planks. Passenger seat, if it's equipped with a passenger presence system. So, like I said, I know I'm out of time. This is just an example of a car that came in, real basic body work, didn't need a whole lot, but even to get it back on the road properly, the Chevrolet is saying these are all things that need to be checked in any type of collision. So, any questions?
I did notice the swerve control, and that go off before. And what I didn't realize about it is you can't do anything. It actually takes the steering wheel and moves it. No matter what you do, it's going to do whatever it wants. I was really shocked. Why not use that in snow anymore?
Oh, jeez.
I was just going to piggyback on what you said, and just to say that if you own a newer car, especially a European car, you probably have 25, 26 computers on board, and they supply information to all the systems. And if you own a Porsche or a BMW or an Audi, just replacing the battery, you have to readjust. You have to reinitialize the battery to the car, so the car recognizes the battery. Steering angle sensor, it has to recognize there's a new part, so that it's dumping data into the little module in that part, so the part knows how to, sort of justify where it's at in physical location, so it can report back to the ECU. So it's really getting hard, and the dealers, the dealerships or manufacturers, they're not sending a whole lot of information saying, oh, by the way, you got to remember that this is what's going on now. There's been a change. So to Kevin's point, you just have to be on top of your game and understand your business, because changes are happening, and if you're not on top of those changes, you can put yourself in a precarious position by not following certain procedures, and then if something was to happen, it's like, well, why didn't you use that? Because it's been known for 3 years that you needed to do that.
We actually just subscribe to a thing called All Data, and it gives us current information, any changes on the specific cars that we're working on. Pretty cool. And one other thing that we're right in the middle of purchasing is a tool called Aztec. It's ASTECH, so it's not like Aztec, Incas and the Mayas. It's just like as if you had a technician in your shop, and you can plug it in to your the computer, and then you plug the other end to the Ethernet. So basically, it goes back to Florida, and there's guys in Florida that have all of the information you need on every car. There's no way we can afford to buy it. I mean, we're talking $500,000 to buy all the software you need to diagnose every car. So this is actually a really good business opportunity. They and a lot of guys are already buying into this. You buy the tool, it's like about $3,500. Then they charge you every time that you scan the car. But you think about it, you got that choice, or you do what we do right now, is we can take it to the dealer every time. And sometimes you might take it twice. So I mean, it saves you time, and the dealer, they charge a little bit of money. So we could do it in-house by getting this tool. So we're looking into it now. We're going to do something to make it a little more convenient, but it is something that's going to it's going to be widespread on pretty much every car from now on. Just plan on getting a collision, they're going to be scanned. Yes.
Just a statement. My daughter just turned her 5th car in Mary Kay, and it's a 2017 Chevy Cruze. And I get in the car and I forget to buckle my seatbelt, and she says, "Mom, you have to buckle your seatbelt. I can't even start the car without that seatbelt buckled." And of course, she already had a 2015, so she traded up. So as she went to make a phone call, and right on the screen comes all her contacts from her phone. She goes, "Wow."
It's truly amazing, what.
It is.
The development of cars, it really is. So
And she has OnStar, all of that, and the backup where you can see where you're backing up if somebody's behind you.
I was actually started a list of all the things that the changes in automobiles. I'm like, okay, I don't have time for this. It's so many. So, anyways,
Isn't it potentially so much more dramatic though moving forward?